Thank everyone for coming out this afternoon for our annual banquet. I get the privilege to be able to MC the event today. Grant had a conflict with the later time, so I'll keep it short. But thanks for everybody for your flexibility this week, trying to work around the game tonight. And we had a couple last-minute changes in the start time, but thanks to the Marriott and everyone here, I think it'll work out just fine. I just hope that no one shows up at 5:30. Oh, the Gedries are going to show up at 5:30. So we've got an opportunity to welcome this year our 2016 Quad A Northwest 9 section champions, the South Fayette Lions. In 2016 was a season where we entered with some uncertainty based on the PIAA 6 conference realignment. South Fayette moved from being one of the bigger schools in AA to one of the smaller schools in Quad A, which also provided us 10 new teams to compete against this season. However, Coach and our players still maintained our same expectations this year for our football program to win our conference, the WPIL, and the state title. Came up a little short. But many skeptics out there thought South Fayette might slip or even wither among the larger schools in tougher competition. But this team and the community, and from the administration and to the coaches and to the players, embraced the challenge and demonstrated that South Fayette is here to stay, not missing a beat and finishing their 5th straight undefeated regular season and a conference championship. And for our seniors, I tip my cap to this band of brothers. I'm sure Coach will cover this, but this group of seniors, this band of brothers, accumulated 54 wins against 2 losses in the last 4 years. They were 37-0 in the regular season, with 4 conference championships, 2 WPIL championships, 1 WPIL runner-up, and 2 state championships. Congratulations. Now I'd like to turn over the program for some remarks from our school superintendent, Dr. Rondinelli.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's always an honor to be invited and to attend the annual football banquet and the senior recognition banquet. That's okay. We're all here now. Please join me today in thanking Coach Rossi, his coaching staff, the trainers, the managers, the athletic department, our AD, Mr. Mark Keener, who puts in endless hours, our business office, Brian Toney, who makes sure that all of the expenditures are taken care of so that we can really cooperate with football and make sure that people get to where they need to be, our transportation department, our assistant superintendent, Mr. Duramo, who is one of our biggest supporters, and really everyone that contributes to the program and the planning and preparation. It starts the day after the season ends for the preparation for the next year. And South Fayette certainly is in the mix every year, and we are happy that we have a school district that supports athletics, academics, and the arts. So please join me in thanking everyone from our board of directors to our transportation department to our food service department who supports these students. Thank you. And the one group I don't want to forget to thank is our parents. Students and athletes, without your parents, you would not have the support that you have to do the things that you do and to be as equipped as you are. So parents, we thank you not only for the support of the district, but for the support of your student athletes and our family members and our community members as well. It takes a lot to make sure that we have a winning team. The field maintenance, the sound system, the ticket takers, the parking lot attendants, those are all people that contribute to the event too, but none more than our student athletes. We all go to work every day at South Fayette with an opportunity to serve our students and to contribute to the youth that will become our legacies. It is our collective goal to help create the young men and women who are not only the student athletes of today, but they will become the innovators of tomorrow. Athletes that can transition the lessons that are learned on the field. You will often hear me say that the football field or whatever playing surface it might be is the place, it's the extra classroom. It's the place where we learn other lessons, not only on the field, but also in life. There was a quote that I found from Coach Mack, who at one point in time coached at North Texas University. And prior to departure, he said, how to turn disappointment into inspiration was something that he always was able to do with his team, he strived to do. And he recognized that it was a privilege to be on the team at the university where he was, and to help to grow, to expect the best possible. I sent a note to Joe Rossi pretty much immediately after the game that we lost, because I always send a note to him when we win, so I wanted to make sure I sent one that evening as well. But it really was heartfelt on my part, and I know his response was heartfelt. Joe said, I told him I was not only proud of our student-athlete season, but also of how they responded that evening at the game against Newcastle. And Joe sent back to me one of the best texts I think I've ever gotten from a coach. He said, in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds of the game, we blocked a PAT, we scored a TD, we made a 2-point conversion, we recovered an onside kick, we nearly caught the game try and catch, and throughout the year, we also supported one of our own. We supported Harrison. How proud he was of his team. So all of you need to be proud of that, because your coach, it was a tough pill to swallow. I think that's what he said. But he also was very proud of you in that moment. So Joe, I thank you for being the role model for the students that you are. And thank you for everything that you do for them. And Carly as well, and your family. We're lying proud. We're lying proud of the fight, and we're lying proud of the resilience. So I'm here to tell you that in life, things will not always go as you want them to. It's how a person rebounds from any disappointment and how we treat one another that matters. And that same coach said, forget yourself for others so that others will never forget you. Student athletes, pursue your dreams. Seniors, you've had a heck of a ride, and I know my husband and I have enjoyed every minute of watching the football games and participating in them. Thank you for making us proud on so many occasions, and don't forget the good, and remember to pursue your dreams. And to our underclassmen, you have an assignment. Let's go, Lions. It's next man up time. So we're expecting big things from you. And seniors, thanks for being such a great role model. Have a great banquet.
Thank you, Dr. Rondinelli. Next, I'd like to introduce Alex Minford, who will lead us in prayer before the meal.
Everyone, please bow your heads. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to come together to celebrate yet another successful year of South Fayette football. Over the past 4 years, these seniors have achieved many accolades as well as learned a plethora of skills and life lessons that we will continue to take with us till the day we die, and we're forever grateful for that. Lord, today we just thank you for the opportunity to eat this food, and we ask that you please bless it, as well as keep everyone safe tonight as they embark to wherever they may go. Finally, we ask that you give us all strength in times of loss and humbleness in times of victory. In your Son's name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Alex. Now we shall start to eat. And our seniors, our band of brothers, can you please lead us? Next part of the program, I'd like to introduce Coach Rossi, who leads the South Ed football program and works with our players and our coaches and his fellow coaches to maintain South Ed as a perennial contender each and every year. Just a couple facts on Coach Rossi here. As South Ed's head coach, his regular season record has accumulated 80 wins against 11 losses. In the playoffs, he's accumulated another 27 wins against 7 losses. So overall, that's 107 wins for about an .850 winning percentage. If you include his time at Riverview, Coach Rossi has accumulated 133 wins in the high school level. Coach Rossi and the South Ed Lions also own the longest current regular season win streak that's active in the WPIL, and it stands at 47 games. So that's something for all the returning players to continue. Coach, I'm glad to have gotten to know you a little better over the last couple of years. You're a good man, lives in the community with an excellent family. So thank you. Now, will you please do the honor to lead us through the most important part of our afternoon here, where we meet the players and distribute their awards. Coach Rossi.
Thank you to Tom for stepping up and emceeing the banquet, and it's been an honor to get to know Tom as well, and taking over our boosters as we'll get to. Today we celebrate. Today's a celebration. Always look forward to today and honoring our football team and so many moving parts that sit in this room, as Dr. Rondinelli said, from our boosters to our parents to the players to the coaches to the families, everything that we'll talk about. And there's so many moving parts, and this program is successful because all the moving parts are moving forward. And fortunately for us, that doesn't always occur in a program. And guys, a lot of colleagues of mine talk about, complain, and different things that I just kind of sit back sometimes and realize how fortunate and lucky we are that this train's moving forward. And it always has and always will, because of all the moving parts that are involved with it. We're here to celebrate the team, but most importantly, these 22 young men that sit up here that 10 years ago when I walked into the elementary school and had these guys in 3rd grade. I mean, time just flies by. I mean, I know your parents and most of these guys that are up here were sitting in there in 3rd grade, and their dreams, and we talk about football a lot. They were at our youth camps all the time, and it just flies by, and I'm thankful to have gotten to know these guys, to be in gym class with them in 3rd grade, to lead them and watch them in youth football, to middle school football, and an honor to spend 4 years each and every day getting to be their coach. I recently started my off-season reading a little bit and started a book called Chase the Lion. And it talks about a couple things that, as I've gotten started this week, that kind of stood out in my mind. Something that these guys have experienced and things that they live by. Talks a lot about dreams, as Dr. Rondinelli said. The first thing that for our program and reading it that stood out to me was, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small, which really stood out, that comment. I loved it. And I think about all the dreams, and I get to sometimes during practice and in the off season especially think about and talk to these guys about their dreams, and whether it is going on to play baseball, to wrestle, to play football, to just go to college, whatever it may be, this program forces you to dream big. We do have dreams and aspirations and set goals of winning a state title, winning a WPIAL championship, and winning a conference title. And this program forces you to work hard as coaches, as administrators, everything to achieve that. Second thing that really stood out was dreams predate us. We live a dream within a dream. And I thought that, man, when you read the book and you think about that, for me personally, my dream was my dad, where that started, coming over from the old country and to make a better life. I've been able to live my dream through my dad. For these guys, it's been able to live their dreams and work hard to accomplish them because of you parents out there. And I think about our administration and the dreams that we've been having and wanting to accomplish because they've allowed it. So we essentially live a dream within a dream, which I thought was a great comment. Third thing that stood out and last thing was to empower your downline. And I think about these guys in this program from alumni who are sitting here that want to empower their downline, something that they want to give back. These guys is carrying on the tradition of BOC that was started by Coach Parks in '09. And our wide receivers and our skill guys have lived by that. To our seniors taking the underclassmen, and you watch them doing lineman workouts, they've done that. We're successful as a program because of these seniors, and the guys and the people in our program have empowered our downline. All reasons why we continue, and the last thing that kind of struck with me was that your greatest legacy isn't your dream, okay? Your greatest legacy is the next generation of dreamers that you inspire. And these guys inspire me every day. Yeah, it didn't turn out the way we have wanted, but you know what? When you really look at it, that game won't define who these guys are. The definition was being down 16 points with 2:30. A lot of people just give up. Not these guys. Not them at all. I was so proud that day when that happened, to be blocking extra point to keep it at 16, okay, to get the ball back, to drive down the field, as Doc said, to score, to get the 2-point conversion, to get the ons. They never doubted. Not 1 second until that very last play. And you know what? That's our coaches, that's our players, that's our administration who instills that value into us that we're not going to quit. We're going to work our butts off, and I'm proud of these guys. One round of applause for these 22 guys. Okay, some thank yous before we move on here. Dr. Rondinelli's success starts at the top. You demand excellence. She always says we expect to win. She says it all the time. Every time I see her before a game, after a game, the expectation in the school is excellence. Okay, she puts the pressure on the teachers, the coaches, okay, everybody that's involved with the school. We are so fortunate to be able to have her. Mr. Duramo, Mr. Skirbin, Mr. Brian Tony, part of our administration, they just carry on what Dr. Rondinelli, okay, instills in them. And they're our biggest fans when you look on the sidelines. Mr. Duramo's gotten a 15-yard penalty for us before, and he hid behind the players and was pointing at Mr. Skirbin so that he would get called for it. Mr. Keener over there, you know, the operation of our day-to-day is smooth, and Joe Farkas is a legend at South Fayette, and Mark's just carried on that tradition. And no, not Joey, but old man Joe. And Mr. Farkas, you know, Mr. Keener has carried on that tradition. All our teams are successful. And the thing we talk a lot about is our multi-sport athletes, and we talk a lot about continuing. The day this football program dies is the day we start specializing. Because I look up in here, I see all our hoopers, baseball players, wrestlers, track guys, everything. We continue to be successful because we don't specialize at South Fayette. We're all athletes. They're our athletes. They're not football players, not basketball players. They're not wrestlers. They're athletes of South Fayette. Rob McCabe, Larissa, and Lauren, some take care of our injuries. This was a year of a lot of injuries. We found out a lot about our depth of this program because every week there was somebody else that had to step up and do a great job, and thanks to those three, they did a nice job of getting our kids back on the field. Families of our staff, our wives, our families, they sacrifice. It's hard being a coach's wife. Okay, my wife, 3 basketball games, gymnastics. Today, not here with us, but she's running around and she loves it. My kids love being a part of South Fayette and South Fayette football, and we appreciate that. The Chaucer family, I say it every year. Okay, if we didn't have the Chaucer family, this program wouldn't go. And we honor Rick, who just won his 200th wrestling match. Let's give him a round of applause. Rick is officially Mr. South Fayette, and you know what? More than wrestling, he's our middle school football coach. These guys all played for Mr. Chaucer, Mr. Patterson, Coach Chappell. Okay, these guys do a great job in running our program and running our offense, and we thank them. Bull, who sits in here, many of you guys work out with Bull. He does a great job, and he's became a water boy this year. All right, not only is he one of our helpers in the weight room, carried around a lot of water, but he's our biggest fan, our biggest cheerleader. The only thing he wants to see us do is be successful, and you guys to work your butts off as you do for him. Sometimes when you're in your off season or in your sports, you're able to have a chance to go down and work with him a little bit. Our manager is probably our greatest loss. Okay, I know we got 22 pretty good football players up here, but the 3 that we lose this year with Natalie Chaucer, Riley Rayo, and Haley Kennedy will be severely missed. Okay, it's not easy being a manager, and these guys take their time and effort to come down. I want them to stand up, come on over and get an award from Coach Slenchek over here. Let's give them a round of applause. I asked them to try to find a few young managers to no avail, so it's not a job that anybody really wants, but if you know of anybody that's looking, we'll take them next year. 2 people that showed, and Andrew and Joe here, they are character coaches. You may not know them, but they are always at practice, one of them, both of them, helping out, shagging balls, whatever it may be. On Thursdays, Coach DiDonato started our character meetings, and these 2 have continued to work to continue our character meetings. And we just sat down the other day, and both are having you didn't have your babies yet, did you? Wives are at home, getting close to having in their South Fayette families, which is great. And we were going to start in February doing our off-season stuff. We've never done that. We usually do it during the season. So we're going to ask any of our guys, seniors, alumni, anyone that wants to continue to work on character. In this day and age, we need to make sure we have a good understanding of that, and I'm proud of these 2. I'd like to give them a round of applause. Stand up so families that may not see you. This Andrew, taller one, Joe's the shorter one. Our touchdown club, as I said to Tom earlier, anything we want in our program, they find a way to get it done. And it's always, once again, as I talk to my colleagues, you hear about it, the headaches of boosters and this and that. In all honesty, these guys, they just work. Hey, what do you need? Okay, what do you need? We have Mary Ann Sabo, Lisa Malash, Tom Frost, and Sue Mindel, and I think I have everybody, right? I should have wrote that down. Who's that? Okay, and Jim Walker. I'm sorry, he keeps the books. Where are you at, Jimmy? Yep. Thank you, guys. So I'd like to give those guys a round of applause. I should have wrote it down, but I apologize. Thank Lisa personally. Laura Schilt graduated. Michael graduated a few years ago, came up with an idea, hey, let's do some sponsorships. And the first year, we think we raised like $6,000, $7,000 that we didn't have before. This year, we capped it off with $17,000 in sponsorships. So I want to thank her. We're able to go to Notre Dame in a coach bus and do the things that we were able to do because of our booster. It's first class. I've got guys that go on to college that come back and say, you know what, Coach, sometimes it's tough. It's not the same as playing at South Fayette. We get this, we get that, all the things that we're taking care of. Tanya Brinsky, I'd like to thank Tanya. She filmed all our JV games this year. First game was a mile away, couldn't see but ants on the field. Okay, by about the second, third game, she got much better. And she found herself a job until, so I do thank her. So the kids were able to watch through huddle, be able to do everything, and it's important for us. I do thank her. Dave Hines, we just signed him to a 5-year deal. He doesn't know the other day. He doesn't know, but we signed him to a 5-year deal to continue on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Friday nights. So unfortunately, it's not a paid position, but we do thank him. So I want to give them a round of applause. And last is the families in here. Last of the thank yous, just, I've gotten some friends and in this room, guys that, from Char Valley and guys that just growing up in this program that not only are parents of our players, but they're friends, and that's important to have. And we're thankful that train moves forward because they know that it's not about an individual, it's all about the team and the program. And I just want to thank the families, and I want my kids to give their families a nice round of applause. My kids, Red. All right, let's get this program started. We're going to start with all conference. Okay, these guys are going to come up here. We meet, and as a group of head coaches, we were able to go to Montour High School this year, and we don't vote on our own players. Okay, they vote on everybody on our team, as I voted for other teams' players. And we will have an all-conference banquet. Anyone that's on this list will be Wednesday. The bus leaves at 11 o'clock. We'll be up in Wexford, so it'll be they'll get another award from the conference. We'll get our conference trophy, the gold football. I always hope that it's here, but they will award us that there, and the guys will get a free meal on Wednesday, 11 o'clock. You'll be out of school for a little bit there. Honorable mention. Okay, we'll go through all these, and then we'll honor them with a round of applause. Honorable mention, Chris Yellig at guard, Alex Minford at tackle, Mikey Specka wide receiver, Don Malosh linebacker, Ray Eldridge defensive end, Jake Walker defensive line, Dan Trimber kicker. Give him a round of applause. Go ahead up and get your all-conference award. Second teamers, we have at linebacker Giovanni Love and defensive back Luke Mindel. Give him a round of applause. First team all conference. Okay, quite a few of these guys. First team all conference. Quarterback Drew Saxton, running back Giovanni Love, center Brent Coyne. Both sides of the football at tackle and defensive end, Andrew Gedries. Both sides of the football at tight end and linebacker, Noah Plack. Wide receiver, Dan Trimber. And defensive line, Alex Minford. I don't think we've ever had a red jacket at our banquet. Very stylish, very stylish. And player of the year, as voted on, actually it was offensive player of the year. This conference did an offensive and defensive player of the year, but the offensive player of the year, and first time starting at that position, which is tremendous. Stuck behind a pretty good running back that graduated and stepped into this year and did a wonderful job for us. Player of the year, Giovanni Love. Okay, our scholarship award winners. We've given out two $500 scholarship award winners, and the boosters one day kind of floated out an email and said, you know what, with the amount of players that we have and the money that we've been fortunate enough to raise, we've kind of made a sliding scale of a number of players. Since we were over 20, we're going to award 4 $500 scholarships to these young men. And we thought it was deserving, since we had so many to choose from, that we'd up and make a little sliding scale based on the number we had. All right, two of my colleagues, coaches, one in Florida and one at a local school. We send them out, I PDF them. I don't read them until afterwards. And but my wife happened to be there this morning, and Charlie and I were getting ready for an early basketball game, and she walked downstairs and she was in tears, and I was just like, what's something wrong? She's often very emotional, and she started crying. And I said, "What?" Charlie's like, what's wrong? And she's like, did you read this application? And she just started crying and said, wait till you read this application. And we've got some very talented young men. And I haven't. I'm excited to read it. But she just said it's just heartwarming and touching after she read it. And that just goes to show you the education that's going on for these guys as you'll see them speak, and the way their penmanship, and very, very excited to read them. These 4 young men are going to stand up and be awarded. Coach Walker's the money man, so he'll be able to write you a check from the Touchdown Club, and we're honored to be able to offer this to them. First one, stand up, Alex Minford. Second one is Luke Mindel. Third, Mr. Don Malosh. And last, Mr. Anthony Frost. Thank you, guys. Coach Walker will get that to you. Okay, underclassmen. We're going to start off the underclassmen. I've asked Alex Minford to come on up here as he's going to introduce our first underclassmen for you guys. Alex Minford, give him a hand.
Okay. So I was actually asked this morning to do this. So I did not prepare a speech or anything, and I'll keep it pretty short. Back in, I'd say it was like maybe July, August, sometime around there, we had a Thursday practice, and we were all called after the practice to get in a little group. We thought it was like a break, but Coach Rossi called us over and said, I'm going to be honest with you guys, we have a teammate named Harrison Brown who's been diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. To be honest with you, I had no idea what Hodgkin's lymphoma was, and my second instinct was to think, who the hell is Harrison Brown? At that point, I didn't really have a working relationship with many of the freshmen, but from that point on, I spent the next few weeks and months getting to know Harrison, and absolutely stellar kid. He possesses like many qualities such as, perseverance, determination, grit, passion, courage above all else. And he's really inspired this entire group of guys to get as far as we made it this year. And whenever we were thinking about maybe taking a rep off, we just thought of all the things he was going through. The best example that probably sticks in my mind was the Blackhawk game. We came in halftime 21-0. We were down. And I'd never been in that situation in my 4 years here, and people just looked like deer in headlights. They were completely starstruck, stunned, shocked. The first thought that popped into my head was, in life, it's not about the cards you're given, it's about the reaction that you have to the cards, right? It's about the strategy. And so it's not the adversities that come to you that define you, but how you counteract those. And no one embodies that ideal better than Harrison does. And I've gotten to know him as a friend. He's like a brother to me. I've gotten to know his family, absolutely phenomenal. And I'm going to be watching you real close in these next 3 years of your high school. I can't wait to see you develop as a player and, more importantly, as a person. So give it up for Harrison Brown.
Come on up here, Harrison. Anyone that's called up, come on up here and get your award. He's no longer part of the coaches club. He's starting to grow his hair back and looks good. He's no longer a coach. I think we got a standing ovation for Harrison, please. As you could tell, that's what my wife was crying about, as his application involved Harrison with it. So I asked him to come up and honor him. Thank you. All right, next two guys. We'll get rolling here. All showed signs of being great contributors to the program here. And that's what it's about. And we got Benny from New York and Ian. We talked into phys ed, the beauty of being a middle school phys ed teachers. I get to talk some kids into playing some football. And both we feel are going to be good contributors to us. And that's Ben Wright and Ian Stump. Come on up. I coached a Brendan Wright, so I have Brendan. I call him Brendan all year. And I think it's on your water jug, so I'll replace that for you. All right, next two guys, two quarterbacks who continue to get better, who want to work. And as evident by their work ethic in the weight room the first 2 weeks, And I know that they are Zach's going to be switching to wide receiver, and Henry's going to continue to get better. And they do a great job so far in the offseason. I'm very proud of them. It's Henry Lex and Zach May. Two multi-sport athletes, okay, who need to only get bigger. Okay, at times Coach Yost would say, man, they're really getting good, or their technique is tremendous. And as freshmen, you're usually smaller and taller and lankier, so we know with some good work in the weight room that these two guys are going to do real well for us. And that's Justin Clevenger and Carson Tucker. Next two are two good athletes that do, possess some serious talent in different ways. Both are fast, athletic. Ty got on the bench the other day, and there was 135, and I said, "You sure you can do this?" He kind of looked at me, and he cranked out 8 of them, and I was very impressed with his efforts there. Luke, just tremendous speed and has the ability to be very good. And that's Tyler Sharp and Luke Preshear. Next two are playmakers. When you watch the JV games, and after that first game, we were able to watch it, and we saw on both sides of the football that that they were going to be pretty good for us, because they always found ways to make tackles and be in there, and their work ethic is tremendous in all their sports. And that's Sonny Rayo and Eli Brinsky. Next two guys, both will be asked to, contribute early on, and both possess great size. Sometimes as a freshman, you're not blessed with some of the size, and you have to wait till it catches up with you. But both these are blessed to have tremendous bodies, and will be asked to contribute their athleticism. Zach, we put 225 on the bench the other day and cranked out 8 or 9 of them, which I was very impressed with as a freshman. Jumps out the building. Nolan playing basketball, tremendous baseball player for us, and like I said, when I get them rolling in the weight room and get them rolling, that they're going to be tremendous for us. Nolan Lutz and Zach Blank. Freshman class, not blessed with a lot of linemen. Okay, we got some good ones, but these two here continue to get better. And Coach Fu would always say they're going to be good for us. They're going to be all right. Keep eating, keep doing the things that they need to do, and that they're going to be pretty good for us. And once again, kids that play other sports, which is great, basketball player and baseball player, and have to understand that continue to get big and continue to work for us, and they're going to be all right for us. And that's Jalen Crocker and Joey Russo. Okay, move off to the sophomores. Last year, Helena would kick our extra points, and I told the story about kicking it, and it was in the air, and it kind of hit off the crossbar, and everybody went nuts, and that was one of my favorite moments of the year at South Allegheny. And this year, she came in, and when she hit the ball, I think it went over the top of the goalpost, and we just kind of, Coach Litt and I just kind of looked at each other, and wow, she continues to get better, and that's because of her work ethic. He said the other day he watched her play basketball, scoring like 10 points, and tremendous soccer player. But more importantly for me, continuing to get her leg better and continue to be a good kicker for me. And the respect to these guys, because she comes out and works hard every Tuesday, every Thursday is there, and we're proud of her. And that's Helena Van Bibber. Next two guys, solid contributors. Solid contributors who will be who have the opportunity as starters, to compete for a starting position in 2017. They both possess some size, some ability, and they continue to work. They don't look like sophomores, which is great. And that's because of their work ethic in the weight room. And both we're excited for next year, and that's Hayden Sheeter and Ryan Fleming. Okay, mixed in my order here. Colin Wilhelm couldn't be with us, but another freshman that did a tremendous job for us. Okay, did a tremendous job at linebacker, and Coach Crown enjoyed working with him early on. Okay, I know he's played some line in the past, so we transitioned him into tight end and linebacker and fullback in different positions all over the field, and given the opportunity, did a great job to make a lot of tackles in a JV game. And again, another multi-sport kid, and in the weight room now working hard for us and going to do a good job, and that's Eli Snyder. These two kept getting better and continuing to get better as the season went on. And as coaches, you kind of look and say, man, last year he was okay, and just kind of learning the game. And this year they both started to contribute, both started to do things in scout teams that made us kind of look and know and understand that they continue to work, that they're going to be pretty good for us and do a good job, whether scout team or special teams, and knowing their place. And as a youngster, they did every day. They came in and they worked. And that's Cam McChesney and Steven Ziegler. We talked about injuries and how you need to step up. And these two, wow, they stepped up. They stepped up, they made plays for us. They did the things we asked. We didn't miss a beat. Both are big-bodied kids playing basketball right now, and both baseball players and three-sport athletes, which is tough to do. I mean, like I said, and to be successful, you're going to football, you're going to have a ton of injuries. And these two just stepped in whenever asked for, didn't miss a beat, and are going to lead our line next year, and that's Benny Coyne and Tom Elia. Okay, next two both have capabilities to be solid. As we're entering our third, almost fourth week of being in the weight room, haven't missed at all. They continue to work, and they continue to get stronger, and both have the size and capabilities to be contributors in 2017. There's some pretty good linemen sitting here that are graduating, and so these two have to be able to, we know in the season we're always, hey, we need 8 or 9 linemen to make it through a season. So we need to make sure these two continue to work, and that's Sean Sakavich and Jimmy Smith. Next two guys here, both good athletes, and Christian, as growing up, has always been very successful on the football field. And Trey, we kind of talked into football again as a middle school student, because watch him run around phys ed class doing a good job. Both are working hard to be contributors and not just be on the team. That's what we talk about. Don't just be on this team, be contributors. And when you're trying to figure it out that, hey, I just don't want to be on this team, at some point you want to play. You want to play, and being on a team is not good enough. So these two, I think, have kind of turned the corner, saying, hey, we want to be out there, whether it's special teams or whatever it may be. That's Trey Brumley and Christian Long. Okay, next three guys, they are the next in line, I guess, of the BOC that they're passed down. And you could tell already every time I go down there after school to the weight room, the 3 days, I always hear the jugs machine going. I hear the tennis ball machine clanking off the wall. You look in, it's always Dougie, Mikey, and Coco that are in there trying to get better, trying to do some great things and trying to get their hands better, get faster, get stronger, haven't missed a day, and they know that it's a large legacy to live up to. Some of the guys that have played here at wide receiver and gone on to Pitt and Penn and some different places, it's a very successful position for us. So they know what's expected of them, and we know they're going to do a great job. Mikey Trimber, Ryan Kokoski, and Doug Brandy, come on up. Next two guys dominated JV football. When you watch the game, you see Joe running up and down the field, scoring touchdowns left and right, and always battling and being our scout team running back, which is taking pride in that, okay, and going against our defense and getting a chance to get inside the 10-yard line, scoring touchdowns, making tackles on special teams, emotional leader. Peyton, you look at him at the quarterback position, we're running him playing from the safety position, making plays. When you watch a JV film, it usually correlates those guys that are successful at that level. When given the opportunity to play at the varsity level, they're usually successful. That's if they continue to work. And these two we know are workers and are doing a great job leading us in the weight room in this off season. That's Joe Mowat and Peyton Tinney. Okay, next two guys showed times and had to jump in there on our scout teams this year, and our best snaps come from Rory Way. You know, we'd always be on Coin's butt about snaps and having to change things for Drew because the snaps were erratic at times. But Rory is tremendous as far as snapping a football, just a little small and undersized, and same with Jeremy. Jeremy, when you get out there, there's a very good route runner, okay, small and undersized, but they're working on things that they can control, and that's getting in the weight room, eating well, and hoping that they can be contributors next year. And if they continue to work that day, whatever role we give them, I know they're going to take it, embrace it, and do the best they can. Jeremy Stabile and Rory Way. Next young man here, you lose a player like Dan Trimber, you kind of forget sometimes about the kicking position and how valuable it is. Early in the year, Coach Litt said, maybe we should go with Renz. Okay, he's booting the ball better than Trimber. You know what I mean? So we knew that Jared's going to step right into Dan's shoes and do a tremendous job. And he was kicking it down the goal line. And once again, it's hard to balance that. We ask him to go to soccer games. Okay, same with Helena, come to practice, then you get on the bus, go to a soccer game, and they embrace that, and Jared has. And we need to make sure that he continues to get better because that's a valuable position. And we've also graduated him from the number 74 jersey. We've enabled him to pick a real kicker number next year. So that's Jared Renz. Come on up. Next two guys were, and another one of the two guys here. And another one of the things that get unnoticed sometimes is practice. And when you look over there, Christian was always jumping and trying to get free saves. Sometimes I'd have to, just wait for the next few. Same with Nick Carter. Nick always wants to be in there. He always wants to get better. Moved him to a different position this year and didn't just sit back. It's easy to just sit back and hide sometimes, and we'll call him out every once in a while for hiding. But these two never hit. These two always wanted to be in there, always wanted to be in the mix and shoving Minford around after the whistle and pushing. And Christian was just, like I said, we always had to back him out. And that tells me they have a big heart and they want to be involved, and that's important for us. Nick Carter and Christian Robinson. Next two guys we have to call up together because of their knees, and they both suffered some setbacks this year. Both were on special teams and were both major setbacks for us. Both were running down there on kickoff teams and making big plays, and we always ISO cam guys and on the headsets, hey, let's watch Sabo or let's watch Will Allen. That was always one of our favorites, and same with Johnny O. Johnny, he was a major contributor offensively and backing up, and both are going to be coming back stronger than ever, as you can tell, in the weight room. They're continuing to work and continuing to rehab and are going to be itchy to get out there come May when we go to our mini camp, and we'll be excited for them to be running around for us again, and that's Johnny Obenauer and Zach Sabo. Next man started the season so-so. His toughest critics are the Faraci brothers. They come in and we beat Jake's. He's okay. He's just okay. And he was maybe a little bit out of shape as far as he just blew up. He went from 180 pounds to 220 real quick. And by the time he got in shape and, was kind of a backup, and we had an injury early on. Okay, this kid we couldn't take off the field. Injuries came back, but It's the Wally Pipp story. He stayed in, and he had multiple 10-game tackles and became one of our greatest playmakers from the defensive tackle position for us. And a little undersized, but that goes to his wrestling background of shedding people, making tackles from there, and single-leg takedowns. And that's what he proved as day in and day out to do that. And he's going to be a big part of both sides of the line next year. That's Jake Walker. Next, dominant at times, okay, which is a reason why he's garnering some Division I interest with his size and his height and his weight, and there'd be times we look on film and he would do a tremendous job. The athleticism on the basketball court and running around, and we know that he's going to anchor this line. He's going to anchor this line that we graduate so many with and continue to get bigger, faster, and stronger. Nobody wants to get better more than Ray. Coach Yost fields a ton of questions from Ray because he wants to be good. He wants to be the best, and that he has that driven desire to do that, and that's Ray Eldridge. Next young man, continue to get better each and every day. It was kind of a backup role early on in the season, had some seniors. When you have 22 seniors on it, sometimes it's tougher for the underclassmen. When you have 10 or 12 or you have 15, some of the more of the underclassmen play. All right, but he continued to get better, never complained, and continued each and every week to press G, to work him in running back drills, to be at the defensive back position. And when G went down in that last game, he got thrust into that role of being a starter. It was over 100 yards, 3 or 4 touchdowns, thrust into 3 games or 4 games at free safety, making tackles left and right. Okay, and he's going to step into a big void of a Player of the Year, filling in for G. And I know he'll do well because he has that work ethic, and that's Johnny Beck. Next young man, when I was sitting there talking to Newcastle coach for our last game, and he said he'd be my first-round draft choice. I think that means a lot. The greatest compliments you get are from the opposing coaches. And when he looked at me and said, that's my first-round draft choice. And he just continued to get better. We knew coming off a solid sophomore year that he was going to be tremendous for us. Found him a new home at tight end, tremendous for us. Okay, and reason why he's already got some offers and got Pitt in the other day to take a look at him, and needs to continue to get bigger and stronger and be, more importantly, a big-time leader for us next year, and that's Noah Plack. Finally, we got one of the best quarterbacks in the WIPU, fortunately. You guys know the teams that win are the guys like Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, these guys, Ben Roethlisberger, who have the quarterback position. That's the money position. And you got to have a good quarterback to be successful, and we've been blessed here to have quarterbacks. It's not easy taking over for Brett, and last year he embraced that. He took 2 steps forward this year, continued to get better, continued to be a leader. To understand how to positively lead a team. And that's going to be asked even greater next year with the loss of all these guys. But in the weight room, you can tell already that that's taking place. The guys rally around, they look in his eye. When you get in a huddle or, you look and he's calling out plays, you know that he's the man. He's going to do great things as he continues as a senior for us and continues past here. And we're just proud to be and blessed to be able to have a great quarterback. And that's Drew Saxton. All right, we move on to the senior portion. My portion is done, and I get to call some coaches up here. First off, the first coach I'd like to call up here, no one else works harder. I go down there sometimes at lunchtime to write something on the board for the kids, and Coach Patterson's already down there watching film. Coach is down there getting his game plan for the day ready. You guys know, nobody really realizes how much time and how scripted, just like a teacher is, our day-to-day operation is. Everything's scripted minute by minute, play by play, and that takes a lot of time and effort. And Coach does a great job, puts a lot of time. That's respected. Okay, put the time in to make sure we're better. because it doesn't always happen. You got colleagues, like I said, out there who may not script or may not do the things, and I've been fortunate enough to show Coach the ropes, and he's embraced the offense and done a great job. Coach Patterson.
Hello, everybody. Well, I told these guys probably, I don't know, a few weeks before we got done. That's one bad thing about being a successful program every year, is you never get the opportunity to tell your seniors what they mean to you. A lot of teams that aren't very good, they know that their last game is their last game, and you get an opportunity to really tell the guys how you feel about them. That's the one down thing about being good, because when you lose, it's a shock. So you're getting over the shock, and then on the field, when it's over, you get that chance. And that's what's great about this, where we get to honor these guys. And again, I told these guys, I don't know, a few weeks before we were done, from the seniors on down to the freshmen, this was my favorite group ever. It really was. This was my 10th year of coaching, and this group was my favorite by far. From talking politics down there to our future president, Mr. Curl, talking music with Cam and Luke, and messing around with the guys every day. And I received a couple text messages the next day after our loss, and it meant a lot to me to getting all these texts from a lot of these guys up here. And my wife kept hearing my phone ding, ding, ding. What is going on? She's getting all upset, and I said, check it out, look at it. And sure as shooting, she looked it up, and there was a different player, 5 or 6 kids, and, with 2 little ones at home, and she could use me at home, I'm sure. She said, this is what you were put here to do, is coach these guys, and I truly believe that myself. So, I know Steelers are playing, so I'll get to it rather quickly here. Coach knocked us down from 3 minutes to a minute and a half for each kid. I'm just kidding. First one. I'm fired. First guy I'm going to talk about, Joey Rossi. He's played football for us for 4 years, and Coach Litt gave me this nugget while we were sitting down. Managed to get through 4 years of football injury-free, but gets hurt in track every year. I don't understand that one. But honestly, Joey's one of those kids that you look forward to seeing every day. He's always got a smile on his face. The kids love him. The coaches love him. I'm sure, he wishes that he would have played a little more than he did, but he did. He battled the injury bug a lot. But I enjoyed my time with Joey. Some scout team stuff, having fun together out there, running around, always telling you to get a haircut every day. Get a haircut, get a haircut. But your program is successful because of kids like Joey that come in and do their job, never complain, never missed a day of practice, just a super kid. Joey Rossi. All right, next guy. I don't get mad at players too. Well, that's a lie. I do get mad at a lot of these guys, but one in particular upset me when I found out that he decided he didn't want to play football his junior year. I'm talking about you, big guy. You upset me when you didn't want to play because I felt you were going to be a very good football player for us, and I was so happy when I found out that you decided to come back and play your senior year because we needed you, and that was evident. By as well as you played coming back. It was very impressive to see somebody who misses their junior year, and a lot of these guys will tell you your junior year is probably, sophomore year is a big year too, but junior year is very important. For him to miss that and come right back in and be a starter for us on defense most of the way. And a kid that probably could have ran the ball pretty well for us too. And to play with a banged up shoulder as well. Big things baseball coming from this kid, and I look forward to following his baseball career, and that's Tristan Tinney. And lastly, the last guy I get the privilege of talking about is the self-proclaimed best dancer on our team. I disagree with him. I'm looking at you, Cam. No, honestly, I always tell Cam every day, his smile lights up a room. It really does. He has a beautiful smile. He's a beautiful kid. We've gotten pretty close over the past 4 years, and he was one of the kids that I was referring to with the text messages. And, you know, it meant a lot to me to get the feedback from him. Taste of music is still awful, but I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss our talks, texting back and forth. You've gotten so much better from day one until your senior year. I was very proud of you, proud of the way that you played, and proud of the young man that you've become, man. And I'm going to miss you. Cam Garland.
Okay, next coach we have up here, Coach Ryan Faraci. As some of you may know, he's going to get married this coming June, and if he was smart, he would have done it this past June. I know he sells some CPAP, but he must have slipped some kind of different gas in there to get her to say yes. And she's a wonderful lady. She fits right into being a football wife. She's a sports girl, and he's very fortunate, and we're happy for them this year. Coach wears his heart on his sleeve, you know what I mean? He's very emotional and does a great job with our kids. You know what I mean? He loves our kids. He's tough on them, but more importantly, when you guys leave here, you understand that he loves you, and that's Ryan Faraci.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming, Gedries. Thank you for showing up. We know he's selling Steeler hats in the lobby. But no, just like Shane kind of stole my thunder a little bit with the senior class. I mean, these guys are so special. Every single year I tell these kids, give up your individualism to be a part of something greater than yourself, which is this football team. In the past couple years, we had a couple individuals on the team, not going to lie. But this year, and 10 years coaching football, this senior class is a definition of a team, and you guys should be so proud of these kids up front. It took a little bit of time, but these guys played for each other, no matter what. If we were down, up, patted them on the butt, let's go. It was just awesome to see. This team's very, very special. I could sit up here and talk about everybody. Tennessee, losing your hair. Gedries looks like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Can you give it to me? All right. But, I get the opportunity to talk about three players. First being Brent Coyne. He put Coach Patterson on suicide watch this year, kind of like what Coach Rossi was saying with his snaps, up here to the side on the ground. That's why I'm bald and Coach Patterson's bald. Lost a couple extra hairs because of Brent Coyne. But the best thing about him is he never gave up. He always came to me and Coach Nick and said, Coach, I want to get better at my snaps. I want to get better on the field. What can I do? And he never quit. I would leave. We would leave. We usually meet half hour after practice. And when we would leave, he'd be outside by himself or with Drew, 100, 200 snaps. And that's why he's an all-conference lineman. Better yet is usually, when I coached my brother, I would tell my brother to do something. He'd tell me to go lay down. He didn't want to listen to it. But when Brent would coach Ben, no matter what, if I got on Benny for something he did, Brent would go over, tap him on the butt. It's okay. Let's just get better. Those two showed love for each other, and that meant more than me than anything. That was awesome. If you get an opportunity to play with a sibling, love them up like Brent and Benny Coyne. That's why Brent's going to be successful, and I'm glad to have Benny next year. Brent Coyne, number 50. Next player, Chris Yellig. We had a good relationship over the 4 years. I think this senior year, we sat down. A couple of the coaches were like, Chris isn't showing up. I don't know if he's going to be able to play for us. Did a lot of good things in JV, but, he really didn't show up to workout. So him and I sat down and had a good conversation on what I want from him, what he wants from me. And he busted his butt this offseason and earned a starting position for us. The thing I'll love about Chris is that we had a good personal relationship. You know, whether it was a school issue or something, he'd always come to me for advice, and that means a lot to me. Yeah, I want to win games and this and that, but to have a personal relationship with one of these guys is something special. You know, hopefully I can carry that on with him in the next couple years. He may have not been the best offensive lineman we've ever had, but I'll tell you what, his technique was the best I've ever had in 10 years of coaching football. He could make millions on clinic tape just doing technique-wise, even with 2 broken hands. But I told him, he came to practice one time. He wasn't practicing. He had 2 casts on. And I go, why aren't you practicing? He goes, I got 2 broken hands. I said, can you wipe your butt? He goes, yeah. I said, get your pads on. But good kid. I love him. I'm going to miss him. Chris Yellick. Last but certainly not least, I don't even know if I know his first name, but he's the man, the myth, the legend, Big Mac. 4 years ago, I could spend hours talking about him, but 4 years ago, you know, we were up doing workouts with the freshmen, and small pudgy Big Mac working out, couldn't get up the field, couldn't tie his shoe, puking on the fence. And I go over to him, and I'm tough on the kids. You know, you got to earn my respect, and I got to earn your respect. And I go, Big Mac, pick it up. I jumped him a little bit. And he looked at me and goes, Coach, just please shut up. and honestly, I didn't know, that's a first in 10 years. Or, well, 6, 7 years. That was a first. I really didn't know what to say to that. I go in the coach's room. Coach Patterson comes in. He goes, Coach Fu, what'd you do to Big Mac? I go, what do you mean? He goes, he hates you. He said, I can't stand him. But, you know, Big Mac's the kind of kid, you know, didn't play many snaps, but he's a kid, he's a reason why we're successful. You know, I knew when Big Mac wasn't at practice because just the laughter and the fun that we had was awesome. Coach Rossi mentioned it real quick. This year, you know, I'm always on Big Mac for running. He came to practice. He had like a steel straw coming out of his hat, a string that went down, and like a fake rubber cheeseburger on his hat. And I go, Big Mac, what the hell are you doing? Coach Rossi's going to kill you. He goes, Coach, you want me to run? If I see a Big Mac, I'm going to go get it. So he was running around practice with a Big Mac on his helmet. But, you know, I'm going to miss you the most. Against awesome family. Like Coach said, you did sign a 5-year contract. We need you to film. But Big Mac is a very special kid, and every football team needs a Big Mac, and that's Nate McElhaney, Big Mac.
Okay, next is our rock. Yeah, he just completed his 40-something year. We don't keep track anymore, but you know, Coach Yost is a legend. You know, all around, not only on the football field, but on the wrestling mat. You know, he's well known. I think, did you pass him officially, Chaucer? A couple years ago, you passed him. And but in all honesty, you know, my greatest thing is the way our kids respect Coach Yost. You know, I mean, this day and age, that doesn't always happen with coaches, and there's some things, but when Coach Yost's talking, it's not too often, our kids, they listen. They love him, they listen, and he's there at 12:30 every day, 1 o'clock, and he's my right-hand man. Everything that I need when I'm in the classroom, Coach is there for me, and as I say every year, if he's coming back, I'm coming back. Coach Yost.
Tough getting old. First, I'd like to say to the seniors, another great year. It's just provided us with another great year. I'm just so happy to come at 12 o'clock and wait for you guys to come in. It's just a pleasure to be with these guys. Mr. Frost kind of stole a little bit of my thunder. I had the same statistics he had, the team statistics that these guys have accomplished over the last 4 years. It's amazing. Someday someone's going to ask you, did you play football? And you can list those kinds of accomplishments that your team did. That's fabulous. That's just great. And I'll miss all of you guys. just a personal thing here. 10 years ago, when I joined this staff, I had the privilege to coach a young, outstanding young man, Nick Ferracci. This year, I got the chance to coach with him, and it was a great pleasure, and I'd like to thank you for a great year, Nick. Two of my guys I'm recognizing here tonight are Rory Haggerty and Dalen Harties. One of the things Coach Rossi stresses often is that each player must find and accept a role on the team. Both Rory and Dalen are two of the seniors that found and accepted their role. Dalen transferred in last spring, and worked very hard in our spring and summer programs. Dalen played on several special teams and played some at defensive end. Both Rory and Dalen were very active on our scout teams. We consider our scout teams very, very important. They prepare our team for the game. And Dalen was there every day in all kinds of different positions, defensive end, offensive tackle, guard, and the same with Rory. Rory would upset some of the guys because he would go hard all the time and push some of them. And I guess there's two situations that Rory comes back to me, is the day he was hurt, and he tried to jump the fence down at Quaker Valley and almost killed himself. And the other one, he was playing Rory the Snowman up at Slippery Rock, and we were watching from the press box, and he just fell over. He was wearing a T-shirt or a light jacket. Rory and Dalen. And last but not least, I have Drew Gedries. Drew lost his whole entire freshman year because of an injury. He began his sophomore year competing for one of the defensive end positions, and by the end of camp, he had earned a starting position. And he also was a backup on the offense. As the season progressed, we had a couple of injuries on the offensive line, and he became a two-way starter on the run to the state championship. That's very unusual for a sophomore to be able to play two ways and start in a championship game on both sides of the ball. The past two seasons, he has continued to improve on both sides and has been named to quite a few all-star teams on both sides of the ball. The selection that most impressed me was the all-conference selection, because the coaches know the players pretty well, and it's hard to go two ways on an all-star team. And he was selected to the conference all-star team on both sides of the football. He has developed a very sound technique. He's a very smart football player, and he's very disciplined. Very rarely did we have to tell him, hey, watch for the reverse. He was always on the backside where they like to reverse and screens. Not too many people ran reverses and screens on our defensive ends. Drew is an outstanding young man, and I wish him well. The best of luck in all that he does. Thank you, Drew.
Drew is our first ever USA Today, first team All-Pennsylvania that we've never had a player here, so I think that deserves a round of applause as well. All right, next coach here. When I was a young head coach at Riverview at 25, I had the fortunate to hire Mike, who the Springdale grad and was teaching at Riverview, and spent 5 years with Mike at Riverview. And one day I was in the lunchroom, and a teacher was in there complaining that her sister, who was at the intermediate school, could not find a nice man to date. So I thought about Foo for about 3 seconds, and then moved on to Mike. And I said to myself, hey, I got the perfect guy that the hooker. She kind of looked at me and went on a blind date. They're ready to have their second child in June. And Mike, more importantly, special ed teacher at Riverview High School, and asks so many questions and loves our kids, freshmen on down to seniors. His greatest attribute is he loves working with the young guys, and that's important. It's important not to just throw the young guys off to the side, and you don't develop a program like that. And fortunately, Mike stepped in, takes pride in all the JV teams and JV work, and making our tight ends as well better. And that's Mike Slenchak.
Thanks, Coach Rossi, and thank you to the staff for welcoming me to the South Fayette football family. As I look out and see everyone here, I'm very glad to be a part of this family now. To the seniors, thank you for a wonderful first year. You guys are moving on to bigger and better things, but you will never be forgotten. The first senior that I have the pleasure of introducing today is Andrew Ziegler. Andrew is a multi-sport athlete, which has helped him become a good scout team player for us. It was not uncommon for Andrew to line up at running back in a varsity game, wide receiver on scout team, or throwing passes as a quarterback warming up the wide receivers pregame. Andrew might be one of the most genuine players that we have on our team. He was one of the first players to introduce themselves to me, and he constantly asked me, "How are you, Coach? How's your day going?" That meant a lot to me as a new coach on staff. Having the experiences of facing adversity and Andrew's social skills are going to help him be successful in his future endeavors. So everyone, please welcome Andrew Ziegler, number 10. The next player I have the privilege to introduce is Will Allen. Will had 22 tackles and 1 sack this year at linebacker. He was a key special teams player for us. What was very important to our offense is he would give us a look of a starting linebacker on scout team. He would have started on most teams in our conference, which shows the depth of our team. Will was our team's emotional leader, often leading the team pregame huddle in the end zone. Not only was he emotional leader, but he also led by example in the drills during practice, always giving 100%. I remember one time it was early in the season, and one of the younger football players, I won't mention their name, didn't finish through the cone in a conditioning drill. It didn't take long before Will noticed and said something that all the players then finished through the cone. That was the type of leader that Will was. Will was also a great person to watch on the kickoff team. As Coach would say in the headset, make sure someone's watching Will on this one. I want to see if he blows this person up. He would fly down there, make a tackle with such great determination. And I hope that he uses this determination in his future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, Will Allen.
Okay, next we have Coach Farkas. Coach does a great job of continuing, like I talked about in 09 with Coach Parks, and we've had some great receivers. And we had guys that graduate and guys that step in, they don't miss a beat. And I know this year's crew won't miss a beat because he's in the weight room every day with them. And that's important for me with a family, and to be able to have coaches that come and to be able to alleviate some of that stress from me. He builds our program, the weightlifting program, and continues to, in the off season, take pride working with our kids. When the jugs are going on and the tennis ball machine's going on, Coach is right in there goofing off with them, having fun with them, and building relationships, because I know those next crew receivers will be ready because of Coach Farkas. Come on up.
It's going to be a little difficult this next year. I feel like these guys have been around for 100 years, thinking back to when they were freshmen. And I swear this group, they all were like this big when they were freshmen, every single one of them. And they would all hang around, and well, it's a little story about Luke pulling on the one coach's, pulling on his shirt. but just to see all these guys grow up and become, young men, it's been a privilege. Some of us got bigger than some of the other players did, but no, it's been a lot of fun with this group. The first person I have the privilege of talking to, see if you can figure out who I'm talking about. Chuck Watterson. Chuck was my buddy when Chuck had some injuries during his playing career. So it allowed us to kind of hang out a little bit. And funny story, I had like a Mio in the locker room, and we got one of the water bottles, and Chuck would go in and he would mix up the Mio and put it in a water bottle and bring it out to me and kind of keep it secret. So we were in defensive practice, and Coach Rossi was screaming and yelling about something, and he looks over and sees Chuck holding my secret Mio bottle, and he yells over and asks for it and starts drinking. It was like iced tea or something like that. And kind of like looks at Chuck and throws it on the ground. So Chuck was a great kid to be around. I think anything you wanted him to do, he'd always do it for you. He was always smiles. Just a great kid. And I truly believe Chuck was kind of the product of a massive amount of receivers on our team, but I think Chuck could have played at any number of schools. He really became a great receiver, along with a lot of our older receivers. We just, it was a product of numbers, but he was just a great kid to be around, and we'll miss him. Chuck Watterson. Hey, buddy. The elixir, yes, the elixir. All right, the second kid I have to talk about is Anthony Frost. I think back to my first experience with Anthony Frost. I want to say he was in 6th grade, and he was at our youth camp, and seeing a lot of our kids at the youth camp eventually come up through the program and everything. But I remember saying to Coach Ross, I said, "Man, this little kid, he just runs around 900 miles an hour. He's the hardest working kid." I was like, I hope he gets a little bit bigger, but he's just the hardest working kid. And I'll never forget that. I think that was my first summer here at South Fayette. I think I've been here for 7 years now. But I'll never forget that. He got an opportunity this year due to injury to really step in and make a difference. And I don't think I've ever been as proud of a player whenever he was able to seize that opportunity. I think he had like 8 catches or something against Blackhawk to help, turn that game around and help us win that game. I think he was 3.5 inches short of getting in the end zone in that game. If he would have got a little bit bigger, he might have reached in and got it. But one of my favorite moments coaching is seeing him get that opportunity that he came and worked hard for every day. And I'm going to miss him too. I'm going to miss all these guys. But Anthony Frost. Buddy. And the last person I get to talk about is Dan Trimber. Trimber was fortunate to come into the program whenever we had won our first state title with Justin Watson and Connor Beck and Hayden Euler and all those guys. And I think he got to really see the work ethic and the commitment to becoming a great receiver. I think those guys showed him that example. And I used to always say, and I would always bring it up before, on how great Watson was and what a great work ethic he had. And I think Trimber does all that and more. I think he displayed the unparalleled work ethic of anyone I've ever been around. He's never once questioned anything. He always wanted to find a way how to take his game to another level. All the time coming back from a play like, Coach, he did this. What do you think I should do here? How can I get around that? How do you think I can improve? Always trying to find a way to make himself better, to make himself the best possible receiver he could be. And I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss this example that he set. And hopefully his little brother gets some of those good genes and some of those good qualities that he possesses. But no, Southhead is very lucky to have Dan Trimber.
Okay, next, Coach Crown. As many of you guys know, he coached me in high school, and is the brother that I've never had. You know what I mean? And when I get out of practice and something's irritating me or something didn't go right, I pick up the phone and I call Coach Crown. Always has that calming voice for me, calming voice of reason. Things will be okay. And I get antsy and worked up about the littlest things because I just want to make sure these guys are successful. And I'm thankful to have Coach Crown to be able to call and rely on. Got 3 guys that he'll speak about Coach Crown.
Okay, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, thank the parents. The group of seniors here are just wonderful kids. I think about the last practice when we carried the seniors off the field, the last game before going into playoffs, and Coach Rossi cited some of the statistics we heard from Mr. Frost. And just to see some of the kids, just the depth of not understanding what they've accomplished. To go through these seasons, not many of them mentioned what they've done. There wasn't a big talk about it. They just put on their helmets and went out and proved themselves. They competed within each other, against each other, but they all came together as a team, and that's a joy to see. So, a great round of applause for these seniors because they did a wonderful job. I have 3 individuals to discuss. First, I'd like to discuss a young man. 4 years ago, he started with the program. He was a little undersized. He came to tight ends, and he was a linebacker. And he worked hard. But again, as we've heard, there's 21 seniors here, and it's a matter of numbers. He wasn't the biggest kid in the world, but he did have a huge heart. He worked hard. Every day after practice, he said, Coach, what can I do? What can I do to get better? What can I do to get on the field? And he always wanted to perform at his best. He wanted to work at the things that he needed to work on so he could get on the field. But, that's his football side. Personally, it's been a pleasure coaching Nate. We got to know each other on a personal level, some of his college attributes. He kept me on my toes with the presidential election. Huge Trump supporter. So every day, I always had to take the adverse role. And on the way over to practice, I'd be searching the news to see what Hillary was doing, what was Trump doing. I'd come to practice. I would make half the stuff up that I really didn't know what he was talking about. Nate would get so mad at me. He'd walk off the field sometimes. But we learned a lot about each other through that whole process. And again, he did have some injuries. He couldn't fulfill what he started to do. But he played a lot, and he truly helped us out. And, I'd like to introduce Nate Curl. He's first team, all Trump team. So come on up. Next student athlete I'd like to introduce, again, came over as a sophomore. He played outside linebacker, I believe, as a freshman. Came over as a sophomore. He hated me probably for the first year. We talk baseball. Hey, why aren't you getting in the weight room? I'm playing baseball, can't get in the weight room. Well, you got to start getting in the weight room. You got to help us. We're going to rely on you. You got great speed, great, abilities. We need you in the weight room. I'm playing baseball. I was on him. We used to fight all the time on the field about him not getting in the weight room. Had all the athletic abilities, has a lot of athletic abilities, but through the process, we got to know each other. We battled constantly, as we all do. All the linebackers will tell you. I kind of tell them the way it is. Sometimes they tell me the way it is, but I never sugarcoat things. We watch film. We tell them, what's going on, what they need to do. Sometimes they agree. Sometimes they get upset. But I think they understand me because I don't sugarcoat. I just tell them, hey, here's the bare facts. Here's what you got to do to get better. Let's get better. And through the years, G. Love has come about to be just a great athlete, great person. Got to know his personality, got to know his personal interest, and just over the last year especially, all the things he spent last 2 games in the training room a lot. He taught me about I don't know anything about text messaging or technology. Direct messaging, instant messaging, all that kind of stuff. He made me understand that, which I applaud. Again, he was our conference MVP. That just speaks volumes. He played the last 2 games with a broken hand. Again, it just talks about his heart, and he loves South Fayette football. He loves South Fayette. So, Giovanni Love. Last individual I'd like to introduce, again, linebacker. Started last year, played a lot as a sophomore for us. Just continually got better. Every day we would talk. He used to scream at me. I'd scream at him a lot. Some days I think he went home and told his mother that he wanted to kill me, but we worked through it usually the next day. I actually taught him how to drive. I think he hated every single minute of it. I was responsible for his girlfriend, just so everybody knows, that he was afraid to ask her out, and I had to, give him the nudge. Yes, true. But just when I'm introducing these kids, it's something to understand they're all great athletes. They all do what it takes, most of them do what it takes to become great athletes. But the young men that they are becoming and the young adults that they will be speaks volumes over the athletics. So I enjoy most, and Coach Ross and the coaches will tell you, I enjoy most learning about their personal lives, what they're going to do, make them better people. We can make them better people, they're going to be able to survive in any world. So Dom's one of those kids. Just a great individual, great person, comes from a great family, and I'm thrilled to have coached Dom Malash.
Okay, almost there. Next to last here, when you talk about what we talked about in our opening statement about kids' dreams coming true and how important it is to us to see those dreams come true. Nick came in our first year here, as Coach said, and started as a freshman. We haven't had many freshman starters, but that year we were so-so, and Nick took a senior starting job and started every single game. Moved off to college, started every single game after his redshirt year. And, God places you in places you're supposed to be. And I know we were going through the recruiting process and looking for bigger things, and he ended up at Robert Morris and got a nursing degree and now heading off to med school. And so for me, I'm most proud to be able to someday call him Dr. Faraci and know that in case I need anything, he'll be there. And he's a hell of a football coach. We're hoping he gets into the University of Pittsburgh. He finds out this month, because if he gets into the University of Pittsburgh, we'll still be able to have him on staff. But Central Florida and Temple are pretty good options, as he's already been accepted into med school. And that's Nick Faraci. Come on up.
I guess just like over here, I signed a 5-year deal too if it happens. But no, first off, thanks for having me on the staff to my fellow coaches. It's been a true honor to come back to South Fayette. I always speak very highly of the school, just from the administration down. It's truly one of the best. One thing that was awesome to see was that a lot of things didn't change since I left. Even 10 years later, Coach Rossi still yells at Coach Litt for special teams all the time and blames everything on him. Coach Crown and my brother don't do absolutely anything during practice, but talk politics and distract the kids as much as possible. But no, it's been a true pleasure to come back, and especially to the seniors. I guess I'm still technically part of your guys' generation, and when I'm out interviewing and talking with people, they always say, your generation, all you guys have attitudes and no work ethic, but they say, how do you deal with that with coaching high school kids? And the first thing I always say is, it's not like that here at South Fayette. These kids are all very special. They all are going to be very successful in life because they put 100% effort in everything they do. So thank you guys for welcoming me back to the program. It's been a pleasure. The first player I want to talk about today is Thayer Phillips. Adversity and overcoming that has been a topic of discussion tonight, and I think Thayer exhibits that more than a lot of people. Growing up, my brother always used to try to make life harder on me. And he definitely did that this year when he threw Theron on offense because, that's whenever Thayer got the injury. But one thing that held true was that he never pouted about his injury. A lot of kids get down and don't want to work hard, but we'd go in before games, we'd go in before practice, and Thayer would be in the weight room working his butt off, and that was always exciting to see. And, I've known Thayer for a little while now. I saw him at Bulls when I would go down and lift, and he would always work his butt off. And I know that those qualities are going to carry him on to the next chapter of his life, and facing adversity and things like that, he's going to be very successful. So, Thayer Phillips. Next person I'm here to talk about, Alex Mimford. Just like future president down there, I think Alex will be the future vice president of the United States. He has a plethora of qualities and a plethora of talents involving playing the trombone, is it? Trombone? Tuba, sorry, same thing. Anyway, instruments, when it comes to that, he tweets politics just as much as Donald Trump, so he has a little knack for that too. But I've also had the ability to know Alex for a couple years now, lifting at Bulls. And one thing is he's a very special person, which I'm sure many of you know. And the kind words that he said this evening, he's just very special. He is the true model of a student athlete. I know Dr. Roninelli talked about that earlier, of what it means to be a student athlete, putting in the work in the classroom, off the field. And Alex really is someone who is a true model of that, and someone that a lot of the underclassmen can look up to and try to model themselves after. I know that he's going to be very successful. I'm excited he's going to Robert Morris, my alma mater, to play. I know they're very excited about him up there. I get texts every week about how happy they are that they got him on the roster. So to Alex, thank you for everything, and good luck.
Okay, last we have Coach Litt. Coach Litt came back to us last year, and year two continued to get better, special team-wise and in the secondary, and didn't give up many big plays. And Coach, is being a coach of another sport like Coach Chaucer, and, having Coach as our track coach, and he just loves our kids as a teacher in the community. So we know that, we're happy that he came back. And now he's moved into the district, and his son's going to be playing for us next year. And he loves South Fayette. And give up what he had in 20, 50 acres, whatever he had out in Waynesburg, come to South Fayette, knowing how important our school is. And it's going to be exciting to watch him coach his son next year. Coach Litt.
Good evening, everybody. So it's obvious, you can see. It's crazy because unless you've actually done this before, you just don't, we try to express it in words, but you just really don't understand how much as a coaching staff we end up loving these kids. And you would literally do anything for them. And I look at these 22 guys, and they're 22 different personalities. And I'm an emotional guy. I can sit up here and I can start bawling right now, I'm telling you right now. But these guys, it's just such a void, that when I look out here, to you underclassmen, and you guys know we've talked about it 1,000 times already, the hugest shoes that you have to fill. And the example that these guys have set from, when you looked at practice and you looked out on the field, there weren't any of these guys standing on sidelines. They were on a scout team, they were on a special team, and it's been said a couple times tonight, just knowing what your role is on the team and stepping into those shoes and accepting that and making the team a better entity. So I thank you guys so much for everything you've done for us and for the program, and just to see guys like Nick come back, and that's what these kind of guys are. That's what we're going to see, in 4 or 5 years from these guys, is people like Faraci coming back and helping this program out. And, another word, shoot, I left my phone back here. I was going to, yeah, I forgot this here. As coaches, I couldn't work with a better group of guys and hard working, and I just want you guys, write this down, 412-475-0166. That's Mike Crown's number, and if you ever want to give your money up, okay, he's more than willing to take it. Crown's always on the side. Mike Crown, how can I take your money? So just little things, that these guys do to help the kids out are so much fun, and it's honestly, the wins are great. They're fantastic. But just the little stories that we had to tell each other, and the stories about Frosty and the stories about Geds, and thanks for showing up 5 minutes late, and all those different types of things. It's really a pleasure. So you knew you were gonna get beat on, right? Right? Okay. That's why actually he made me last, because he knew I was going to talk about AJ, so we want to make sure they're here. So that's why I get to speak last. So speaking of Geds, so again, one of those guys that the product of a 22 senior team, and how special that is. But one of the things I can remember about AJ and Farkey, he's got these crazy little games they played on a receiver practice, and after defense, or whether it was defense was first or second, I always hoped that defense was first at practice, because after defense I get done and I get down with Farkey and the kids, and Farkey, they're beating the crap out of each other. And what was that game, Coach? The one game you guys play. What's that called? What's it called? The one game. Catch it if you can. Catch it if you can. Right? So Geds, so they take a bag, and the kids got to run through, and they got to catch a ball, and then they get smacked with a bag. And these guys, I used to love watch Geds. He'd just grab that thing, and he'd just wait, and he'd eye them up, and the kids would be coming through, and wham, and up high, down low, and knocking kids over. And then Farkey'd, all right, if you get to this catch, then you can name this whatever you want to name it. And that was always a running joke. But I always used to love watch Gedderies grab that bag and just run over Eric so he could start beating the crap out of people. But, again, a role player, scout team, all the time. I never had to ask for a defensive back or for a corner. He'd take every rep on scout if I needed him to. Just sit there at corner and take, because Patterson and Ross would be fighting back and forth about taking reps again. We got to see that play again. And Gedderies would sit there and he'd take all 20 reps at corner during an offensive team practice. And just those types of things. And you don't understand how important it is for those types of kids to be on your team. Because I've been on teams where you have 40 kids on the team, and your scout team you're going against is a 5'6" freshman that weighs 120 pounds. And then you go out on a Friday night and you're playing against a kid that's 6 foot, the size of Gedderies. And those are lucky things that we have here in this program. So, one more time, AJ Gedderies. It's time to talk about Luke Mindel. So oh God, we're on the sidelines of the Montour game, and I think it was Coco or Little T comes up. Luke's wearing a watch. I go, what? He's wearing a watch. I walk over, I go, you got a watch on? He's like, yeah, Coach, it's my time. It's my time. Right? So what's he do? He goes and returns a punt for a touchdown, runs in the end zone. He's running through the end zone, pointing to his watch. Pointing to his watch. So I couldn't wait to go by us. I found this down the strip yesterday, my Flavor Flav. You can keep this. I'm going to let you keep this. All right. But, honestly, though, Luke, last year when I came on staff and Joe asked me to come back, and I was lucky enough, and, who am I going to coach? You're going to coach D-backs. Who you got coming back? Nobody. Oh, good. Well, who do you think? Who do you think might play? I bet Luke Mindel will start for you. I go, Luke Mindel? You kidding me? Like little Luke Mindel? Oh, he's not little anymore. So I come in, we start working out in the summer, and I'll be damned if the summer gun didn't impress me. But, one of those kids those, and why I'm saying that, those are the types of things that you guys need to be able to do, okay? Step into the shoes. You guys have opportunities. Luke had the opportunity, made the most of it. And it's been a pleasure coaching him. We've got a great relationship. Hopefully he comes back out for track. Cam, you can come out too. And no, really. But I'm really going to miss this group of defensive backs. What a great group. We've had so much fun together over my past 2 years, and I know what they've done over the past 4. So, Mr. Luke Mindel.
All right, now we're going to move on to the last portion and hear these guys a little bit, talk about what they're going to will down. We're in no random order here except for the girls. The girls asked to go first as seniors. So Riley, Haley, Natalie, come on up.
Why not?
Okay, so we're the managers, as you all know, and for the past 4 years, we have been bullied by all of these boys in here because every Monday we wash the bottles, and then they're soapy for the whole week, and they'd rather have soapy bottles than moldy bottles, which, I don't know, I would take soap over mold, but they obviously wouldn't, so we have a bar of soap. Of course, this is when we actually showed up, which wasn't much, because we have lives too.
So I would like to hand this off to Christopher Robin for yelling at us every day for not being there. You gonna come get this or no?
She didn't remember your last name. That was tough. All right, we're going to start, let's see here. We're going to move down here and start with A.J. Gedries. Come on up.
Okay, so the first thing I have to pass down is my ankle socks to Ryan Kakossi, because through all my 4 years I was bullied because I only wore ankle socks and everyone else wore high socks. So Ryan, Coco, you get my ankle socks. The next thing I have to pass down is, since last year Michael Allen gave me the ball boy job on Thursdays for the receivers, I'm going to pass that down to Jeremy Stabil. And before every game when we warmed up, me and Johnny Obenauer always warmed up on the numbers. But unfortunately, since Johnny was hurt this year, I had to warm up all by myself on his numbers. So Johnny, find a little guy next year. He'll be warming up with you next year on the numbers. And last but not least, me, Curl, Will, Chuck, Joey, we all consider ourselves, also Haggerty, we consider ourselves scout team captains. And so I'll be passing down my scout team captain to Jeremy Stabile.
All right, we'll move over to this side. Joey Rossi, come on up.
I'll just make this quick. I only have one thing to pass down. My junior year, I didn't get a haircut for like 6 months. I grew out a big afro, and I would always wear headbands. So I'm gonna pass down one of my headbands to Mike Trimber, and
We'll move down below here. Let's go Rory Haggerty.
Is this thing on? All right, it's on. So, like AJ said, I was a member of the scout team captain. So, Rory Way, you can have that my scout team captain role. Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, whatever. The next thing, the skill players would go out before the rest of the team warmed up, and I kind of took over the role of playing the music before the line went out. And I think it was Blackhawk, I remember. I had Alex Manford who wanted 3 Days Grace on, and then I had Drew wanted to put on Chief Keef. So throughout the rest of the season, I had to figure out a playlist that accumulated both Chief Keef and 3 Days Grace, as well as AC/DC. So, and I know Ray wanted to play music multiple times, so you can play music next year. Try and incorporate Chief Keef or whoever you guys like, whoever's new next year. My next one that I have are my lineman gloves. They smell. Saxon hated them. Don't worry, they're not going to you. But I'm going to pass these down to Jake Walker because Jake was notorious of never wearing gloves, and I'm pretty sure that's what helped him have multiple broken fingers and multiple broken bones in his wrist, which caused him to miss multiple weeks for Coach Jossard this year. So hopefully these will keep your little gorilla hand safe next year. So that's it.
All right, back over to the right. Let's go Will Allen, come on up.
Okay, so first off, I'd like to hand down this goes to everyone on the team, the Legend of the GOAT. Going to the Ohio trip, Joey Rossi and I, freshman year, we literally saw a goat standing on a doghouse, and we were completely stunned by it. And every year since, we've gotten extremely excited just for the bus ride, so we look forward to that every year. Sadly, we didn't see the goat this year, so it pretty much cursed the rest of the year. So look out for the goat next year. I'm going to hand down a can of black beans to Beans. I have a fake 5-pound weight for Beans as well. During the summer, I would lift with Beans, and we would always lift next to Johnny Beck and Dan Trimber, and they would always put like an extra 5 pounds on than us, and we'd be like, dude, they're trying to outlift us. I know they are. So we'd always put on like an extra 5 pounds and try and outlift them, and that really didn't work out because look at the size of those two right now. They're massive. So Beans, you can have a paper 5 pounds. Also, Beans, I'm giving you the ability to do whatever you want in the locker room. I got that from Jazz last year. Noah Plaque, I'm giving you the One Heart, One Soul chant that I had the honor to have this year. Try not to get pushed down in the middle of it, thanks to Thayer. I got pushed down, kind of killed the vibe that game. And lastly, I have some earplugs for Coach Crown. I used my during practice, Crown and Nate Kroll would go at it with their political debates in the heat of the election, and I'd kind of try and tone them out with these imaginary earplugs and try and concentrate on Rossi so I wouldn't get screamed at or anything. So, Coach, you can have these whenever another player like Nate Kroll comes around so you can try and listen to what's going on. So, yeah.
Chuck Watterson, come on up.
Okay. So sophomore year, most of you know, we went to Hershey, and I think it was after we won or we were already leaving, and I wanted to take something with me to remember. So I took the Bible from the hotel room. Doug, this can be yours because you remind me of me. I feel like this would be something you would do. So here's your Bible from the hotel we stayed at. This goes to two people that kept me entertained during the games I could not play, Beans and Johnny Obenauer. So Johnny, you can have my broken wrist brace, and Beans, you can have my broken collarbone sling. And lastly, so we would go to the field house sometimes, and I found this little hairband that I would wear most of the time, and Drew had this band that he had on, and one day at practice it broke, so I took it and I tied it to my helmet and it stayed there for the rest of the year. And I actually had to cut it off to take it off my helmet. So Drew, you can have my hairband and this little, whatever this is. And that's it.
Big Mac, come on up.
I only have one thing to hand down this year, and to Rory Way, I want to give him something very special, and I think most of you will enjoy it. Actually, you know what, Rory Way, come up here. You need to open this yourself. Coach Fu saw it before, Coach Rossi, he loved it. I'm passing down my namesake to Rory Way for being another chunky lineman, which we do not have many of. From the bottom. From the bottom. That's about there. Slide it up. It's another cheeseburger. I give Rory my helmet ornament that I made, or Grandpa made, so he can help hustle himself through practice and through the next games.
All right, back over here. Anthony Frost, come on up.
Hello? So I have to hand down two things. First of all, Drew Saxon, Whipule record-setting quarterback over there. Yeah, he lived right down the street when we were growing up. So when you see him dodging sacks, running around the backfield trying to make a throw, he learned all that from me back in the day. So to remember that, we used to be way into college tag football. We had our own league. So we made playbooks, of course, because that's what you got to do. And I would like to give Drew one of the original college tag football league playbooks. My second thing has nothing to do with football whatsoever. We, in study hall this year, first semester, me and Sabo was in the class. We're supposed to be doing work and studying. We thought it'd be a good idea to bring a GameCube in and just play video games during that period, have a little bit of fun. So we would have a competition every day. And it was teams of, we'd play Mario Super Strikers on the GameCube, which is soccer. And we'd have teams, me and Beans be on the team, and we were by far the most dominant force on the GameCube possible. Dom and AJ would get destroyed every single day. And it just made coming to school so much more fun, so thank you.
Tristan Tinney, come on up.
All right. Oh, God. All right, well, as Coach Patterson alluded to, I only played 2 years high school football, so I'm not as accustomed in this tradition as all my other classmates are. So I only have one item and a few choice of words. So my one item is the visor I wore this year. And I'm passing down to Johnny Beck just because it's his. I can't wear it in college playing baseball. And I have no more use for it. It just takes up space in my room. I trip over it. So, John, this is for you. And then I'd just like to thank the coaching staff for welcoming me back with open arms this year and letting me play and contribute to the team. So you let me create a lot of memories I'll cherish for the rest of my life. So thank you, Coach Ross and the coaching staff.
Okay, we'll go with Andrew Ziegler. Come on up.
Okay, so like Tristan, I have a visor to hand down. This one goes to my brother. He wore one in middle school, and he's always told me that he wanted another one. And so I thought, what better way to give him one than to give him mine. So, and I just wanted to say thank you guys for, thank you to all seniors here for welcoming me my sophomore year with open arms. And you guys are the best band of brothers I've ever had. And well, other than my blood brother. but yeah, so this one's for you, man.
Daylin, come on up. Daylin Hartice.
What's good, y'all? I'm not gonna lie. I got nothing to give. Kind of broke. Oh man, I can give someone my rap career. I can get at the Ben over there, Ben Wright. You can have my rap career if you want it. I mean, I'm broke. I could buy you something later. Like, I could buy you a drink, an Arizona tea. What you want? Like, I got you. Tuesday, I got you in school. But for real, I want to thank the coaching staff here. I want to thank my players. I want to thank Miff, Thayer, Geds, Mac Attack over here, Ziggy, even some of the younger classmen, you know, Smash, Ben. Just thank you for welcoming me in here after I came here at, you know, such short notice, and thanks for giving me chances to play and prove myself. Outside of that, I got you Tuesday, bro. Whatever you need.
Chris Yellick, come on up.
Well, I have no physical item to hand down, but my sophomore year, I also didn't wear any gloves like Jake, and all the other linemen all wore black gloves. So when I got mine, I wanted white ones, and when I got them, I got to practice the one day, and Davidson was like, "Where'd you get those?" Because everyone had black gloves, and he was like, "Those are cool," because Davidson was always flashy. and he then got them and then wore them only during when we wore our white jerseys. And the next year, Jason Massey Sears got them, and then the White Glove gang grew. So this year, Drew and I and Ray all wore white gloves, and I just want to pass down the ownership of the White Glove gang to Ray, and hopefully he can expand that, because skill players all wear white gloves, but the linemen always wear black ones, so the white ones look cooler.
There we go. Come over here to Cam Garland. Come on up.
So since most people like the music I listen to, but Coach Patterson, last year Nick Sabo passed down an aux cord to me, which means I play the music before like the games and practice and everything. But this year, Luke would always take the aux because he just felt like he needed it, so he never let me play the music. So I'm passing down an aux cord to Noah Plaque back there. And clap. So the next object I have is an expo marker for Coach Rossi, because in the Indiana game, halftime, we were up, but I guess we had a bad half of football. He didn't like the way we were playing, so he was yelling, and he turned around and whipped the expo marker at the whiteboard, and it exploded everywhere, so I got you a new one. But as I was sitting there, I was playing with the marker, and I realized it doesn't have a tip, so I might have to give him a new one.
Mr. Dom Malash, come on up.
Before I just hand stuff down, I just want to thank pretty much everyone in this room for being there for the 4 years, to the guys I played with, the younger guys, and all you guys out there coming to the games, and the coaching staff. It was a great 4 years. I just want to thank you for that real quick. And then I'll make this quick because there's still like 15 of us. So I have an arm sleeve I borrowed from someone in the beginning of the year. I really don't remember what it's for, and for style, I guess, because I needed it. And it's Drew Saxon's. And, I mean, he's obviously wearing a red coat, so he thinks he always looks cool, but you can have this back. I don't really want it. And then I also borrowed another arm sleeve. Nolan, I don't know what happened to it, so I got you $5 to go get yourself a new one. And then this one has a little bit more of a story to it. So for some reason, Doug always had a picture of me cut out from the senior picture, and he kept it in his locker. So I got him a framed, and I signed it, of course, for him. And I expect him to keep in his locker for the rest of his high school career next year and the year after. And if he plays college, to take it with him. And Coach Rossi, I got you another marker. Thank you.
Brent Coyne, come on up.
Okay, well, the first thing the only thing I'm passing down is a pair of gloves to Walker, because he didn't wear gloves, and his hands were always mangled up and they looked terrible, so I just want to make sure he's protected next year. So here you go. And I would like to say sorry to Tom, because towards the end of the season he got injured, and it was kind of my fault because I pushed a guy in his legs. So I want to say sorry to him. That's it.
Thayer Phillips, come on up. All right.
right, well, I don't have too much to hand down. First thing is a green bandana that I wore to every playoff game until Coach Sahida yelled at me to take it off before the game because he said it looked stupid. And I would like to pass it down to Jake Walker because he was there when I got it. Also, I'd like to hand down the gloves I've had since sophomore year. Freshman year, I didn't wear gloves because none of us did, because none of us thought we needed them, but then we realized we did. And these got me 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, and I like to pass these down to Sean Sutkavage, so he'll be as lucky as I am, maybe. And also, every Monday practice, me and Ray Eldridge would fool around with the speaker and play the worst music we could think of. We played every genre from rap to rock to Frozen, and a little bit of Shakira here and there. And I like to pass that privilege down to work with Ray, Rory Way, and Jalen Crocker.
Giovanni Love, come on up.
Before I start, I'd just like to thank Coach Rossi and all the coaches for believing in me and always believing that I'll be a good football player, because I'd never forget 4th grade, I had Mrs. Rossi, and Coach Rossi comes in and he says, "You're going to grow up and you're going to be my fullback." My freshman year, all the way up into my junior year, I was the fullback, and eventually became a running back and became a great player because of him and all the other coaches. So first, I'd like to start off with handing down something that was tradition for the last 3 years, and it's obviously proven to be very lucky, because Hunter obviously had it, and then I had such a good season. So I'd like to pass this down to Johnny Beck. Obviously, positions are still open, but I've seen what Johnny Beck can do, and I have no doubt that he will continue to do good things. I also like to pass down these sparkly spikes. These are my lucky spikes. I've played every game in them, and it's obviously helped me to a good career. And I'd like to pass these down to Johnny O, because I've seen him play, or before training camp, before he got hurt, I practiced with him, and I've seen what he can do, and I have no doubt in my mind that he will do great things. Lastly, before, I like to just let you guys in on my mindset, that I'm an athlete, and I believe I can play many positions. So throughout the year, the coaches and the players will tell you, I'd go up to the coach and be like, "Coach, can I play quarterback? Coach, can I play corner?" So eventually, I went to Coach Farkey, and I said, "Coach, I got to catch a pass soon." And I believe it was Montour week. We actually had a play design for me to catch the ball. Unfortunately, it did not happen, and I did not get a receiving touchdown. So I like to pass down my gloves to Coco over here, because I believe that he'll catch many touchdowns next year. And that's it.
Andrew Gedries, come on up.
All right, so last year at the banquet, Hunter handed me down some Band-Aids, because Hunter will always get a bloody nose, and then I would also do that. So this year, I am handing that down to Noah Plack, because everyone else didn't really care when I had my bloody noses except for Plack. Plack would always complain, and I don't know, you complain a lot, so I guess. So I'm going to give these to him, because he didn't bleed all year until the last playoff game. He finally got some blood. So now you can use these next year when you bleed again. And that was going to be the only thing that I was going to pass down. But I sat down there and I thought about all the things that were passed down to me. And 2 years ago, Anthony Davidson passed me down a little jar that he said he found my soul in, because my sophomore year, Coach Rossi laid into me pretty hard when I couldn't really get the option down pat.
And this year, I was going to bring it, but I didn't think of it until now. I'm going to give that to you, Ray. Don't worry, I'll get you to your man. But it helped me. After I got that from Davidson, I improved. So I'm sure it'll help you, and you're going to be a great player. So that's everything I have.
Mr. Dan Trimber.
First, I'd like to pass down BOC. Everybody's heard a few coaches mention it. That's what we call skill players. I'm going to hand that down to Noah Plack. Second, Saxon, I think I borrowed 3 or 4 towels from you throughout the season, and every week I managed to lose them somehow. So here's a towel.
Alex Minford.
Okay, so the first thing I have was handed down to me my sophomore year by Anthony Davidson. He said there were 2 prerequisites to get this. This is a shark. The first one is by the end of the season, you just have to be one big ball of tape. And the second one would be you have to make Coach Fu furious anytime you open your mouth. Literally anything you do, he's just going to be really angry at you. This has Lisinski on it. I have no idea who that is, but I think it was a lineman. So I'm going to keep this in the lineman family and give this to Tom Ilya. Okay, there's a story behind this. This is a jump rope. Me and Geds were trying to debate what year this was. It was either this year or last year. Ray Eldridge thought it was a good idea to wear knee braces one day, and he was on kickoff, and Coach Rossi blows the whistle. Everyone dead sprints. I just see him fall over like a tree. His scapegoat is the braces, but it was the most unathletic thing I've ever seen in my life. So hopefully these will help you pick up your feet a little bit and maybe be more athletic. And lastly is something I take, it's very dear to me and something I took very seriously throughout the duration of the season, that is the team prayer. It is a lineman tradition, again, that has been passed down to me by Nick Dabrowski, and so I'm going to honor that this year by passing it down to another lineman. To get this, I feel like you have to demonstrate more of a religious aspect, as well as we have character meetings run by those 2. And this kid was always at the character meetings. He was always positive attitude, positivity, and I think he exemplifies what it means to be that character symbol on the team. That's Jake Walker, so I'm going to give that to him.
Mr. Luke Mindel.
All right, so last year I was handed down Sharks, which is like the symbolic name the DBs call each other. And I'm going to give it to Coco. Sorry, Mike. After I saw Coco deck that kid against Highlands, I had to give it to him. You're both going to be great DBs, and just you guys can kind of share it, but Coco, you can have the Shark. The next thing has a little story. So in the summer, after summer conditioning, me, Drew, Noah, Dom, a couple other players, we'd always want to go golfing. And, you know, I didn't work this summer, and I was always struggling for money, but I wanted to go golfing. And Drew paid for me a couple times, and it was $20 a round, so that's some serious money. I never paid him back. And I told him I'd pay him back, and all year during the season, he'd be like, Luke, give me my money. You need to give me my money. And I was like, don't worry, I got you. So, Drew, here's $40. Spend it wisely. I told you I'd pay you back.
All right, last, not least, Mr. Nate Curl. Come on up.
All right, there's not much to say here. Is it too early for the Coach Rossi imitation? So I'm basically known for 3 things on this team. 1, a scout team captain. 2, imitating Coach Rossi, as he called me up in front of the entire team. And politics. So the scout team captain, me and AJ, and especially me and Will on scout team defense, line up against Minford, all 5'8" of myself, that kid there, and you're shaking and you're so scared. I think we developed CTE or something. Bashing my head, Tommy Elliott coming after me with his head down. So I'm gonna will down my scout team captain to as well, Jeremy Stabile, as AJ did, because I think Jeremy exemplifies everything that a football player can have. Second, Coach Rossi likes statistics, and this entire year I've been keeping tallies on how many times he said some things. So if someone is paying attention to you that much, clearly he's doing something right. But I loved his sayings. He said, on the hop, 258 times this season. And that's always coupled with, let's go, let's go, let's go. And every Thursday, when Cam Garland was running his slant into the end zone, he would say, all right, good strong hands, Cam, good strong hands. He said that 48 times. 48. As long with his football savvy and football smart and all those, and yelling at Ray to stay on for the screen. But I got to say thank you to Coach Rossi, because if I'm actually paying attention to him that much, he's doing something right, and he's left a lasting impact on my life. And lastly, politics with Coach Crown. I will miss Coach Patterson calling me Mr. President every day, but Coach Crown had this bet with me when the election was going on. I said, no, Trump's going to win. He said, no, Hillary's going to win. The polls are showing that Hillary's going to win. And he said, well, when Trump loses, you got to treat me to dinner, and you got to wear a Hillary shirt. Well, Hillary didn't win, so I don't got to do that. Now, I won't make you wear a Trump shirt, but I did get you a Republican shirt and a little political gag gift, but you can open that on your own time. Thank you, all the seniors. Nothing I hope more than success in your future.
As you can tell, the relationships, this is a program and a school, and everything built off relationships. And this is always a tough moment as you say goodbye and see you later. It's not really a goodbye, and you see guys coming back, and the text messages we get from kids that move on and doing great things for us. So for you 22, we wish you the best of luck in whatever you do, whether it's playing football, going to school, heading off to welding school, and some different things that you guys have shared with us. So many things to look forward to. Your life's in front of you. We hope that like Coach talked about, Coach Fu said, we love winning football games, but we like teaching you how to be good contributors to society. Live a purpose-driven life is what we talk a lot about. Have a purpose, and these guys up here have a purpose. They've learned from this staff and our administrators, and we honor them as they walk out here. It's always a tough situation for those guys coming back. There's a little bad taste in our mouth that has allowed us to all reevaluate ourselves and to get out there and be hungry. And we can't wait till August rolls around and to be able to strap it on again and be able to get after it. We thank everybody. We thank the boosters, administration, coaches, families, and most importantly, all of you guys. God bless. Go Steelers. Thank you, guys. Mr. Tom Frost, a few closing remarks, and thank you.
Just a couple administration things at the close of the banquet here. One is thank you to the Touchdown Club for their efforts over the year. Also, thank you for Dana, Lauren, Nikki, and Lisa for the banquet committee. Super job. And then lastly, I'd like to hand down, I got a fob that I already gave to Tom Ilya as the next president of the Touchdown Club. And then finally, starting out 2017 season, you can pick up your Night at the Races packets on the way out. So thanks again, and go Steelers.